Hey YouTube, what's up? My name is John and I build blasters. This video is simply an updated look at my OCD recreation of Han Solo's A New Hope hero from the original Star Wars. The last OCD variant I built, and I call these my OCD builds because of all the mods I do and I continue to do, was over 2 years ago, but I've added some new improved details and I just simply would like to show them off today. Now this is the updated version of the blaster right here specifically. This is built on a Denix, a modified Denix, but I've added a lot more details to it that I would like to show off today. The updates on this blaster specifically we'll start with the stamping. So it's got the crown over U here, and then up here you'll see the serial number stamped onto the Mauser. It's got the 2 even raised up like it is on the actual prop, and it's 2813. And then up top, it's got the Mauser stamping. On the back side here, you'll see another crown over U and 813 stamped onto the bolt slide. Correct stamping on the hammer and lock frame. There you see it here as well. On the scope wheel, I added 9761 on the base there. That's been added into the file. On the scope here, it's got the serial number 2602. On the scope bell here, I actually added into the files itself the weathering. I invested in a Cricut, I think they're called, and I was able to draw up and create a stencil for the rail. I created some grips up in CAD, so they're thicker than a Denix, more in line to what a real C96 has. So it's got a better grip in your hand. The weathering, that's just put in afterwards. The flash hider is the similar flash hider that I did for my multi-jet fusion builds, my full multi-jet fusion builds. So it goes straight, but it'll also bend up just a little bit like it does on the real prop, and then you can turn it a little bit as well, so you can turn it inwards just a little bit. So for the antenna greebly there, I wanted to be able to possibly switch it out and have it be interchangeable. I do have a second one here, right? So there's 2 on here, and then there's a little notch underneath. So what you can do is simply remove this one. I designed it so it kind of like pops in a little bit, and then with the notch, and you can see the hole there, you just kind of push it into place, and it won't come off. It fits in there. So that way you can display it either way you like. Anyone who's familiar with a Denix will appreciate this mod. I created a bolt pen here. These pins are a pain in the butt to get out, and when you put them back in on the Denix, here, I'll show you a Denix right here actually. See that? It's like stuck in there. It ain't coming out. You have to use pliers, and once you shave that down flat, it's just a pain. It's just like a one-way street. Let's see if I can do this here. There we go. So you can just screw that out. Yeah, so that comes right out. Let's screw that right back in there, shall we? Now this is the big one I wanted to show off, honestly, was the sight and slide, or slide and sight. First off, it's got the correct numbers. Again, if you're familiar with the Denix, you'll know that the Denix does not have the correct numbers on there. And the Denix is just all one piece, and it just kind of flops around. There's nothing to keep it down. Most people have to glue it down. Well, I created this one, so it works more so like a real one. Plus, if you, there's a button right in here that you push down, and then you can slide it forward. Just like a real one. It locks into place where it needs to lock into place. The mag release button down here, I milled that in, and I know that, but I created this specific part here just for cosmetics. This is a little detail I added into the file in the front top weaver. It's it's got a weird cut in it, the actual prop, plus you can see how it's chipped here. That's how it is on the actual prop as well. This here is the heatsink grill that I created for this blaster, and honestly it's probably the best one I've created. The reason being is I decided to create a template that rests underneath this. If you're not familiar, these are what they start out as, and this is created from the same mold that was on the original prop that was used in Star Wars. So that's what I created right here. This is just a little template, and it sits flush on the front of the Denix like that. Once you cut up that cylinder, you know, so it looks like this, and it's all properly angled. Each one of those is properly angled, and then you just slide that on into place, and then it just kind of lines itself up. And that is what's on this Mauser here, and that's why it's lined up correctly like that, which is a nice cheat, if I may. I believe I covered pretty much all the new mods that I've added to this blaster, and I do think it's worth talking about and showing off, because it definitely just takes the blaster just up another notch. Now the parts, the Mauser's metal. Everything else is 3D printed except for the heatsink grill and the antenna greeblies. This part here is resin, so I can capture the detail. This flash hider is resin, and the scope wheel itself is resin. The rest of the parts on the back, the lock frame, is multi-jet fusion. It's all multi-jet fusion for the scope and everything else. So it's got a really good strength. The last thing I want to talk about really quickly is I've recently acquired an airbrush. So I started using an airbrush on the scope itself more so than anything else. But it's really been able to allow me to capture the weathering details. Right in here, I was able to paint that blue specifically and get the weathering in there really nice, all using an airbrush. So it turned out really nice. Well, that's pretty much it, honestly. Those are all the new upgrades that I've added to the blaster. And yeah, I just wanted to show them off. I think they really do help improve it. And if you have any ideas yourself as far as what can be done to continue to push the limits on these beautiful builds, please leave it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video today, please hit that like button, that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Thanks for spending your time with me. I appreciate it. And till next time.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
I've outrun Imperial starships. Not the local bulk cruisers, mind you. I'm talking about the big Carillion ships now.
Pew pew!